Hey everyone. Make sure to look at my video that I put out as well on passive income and investment. This is somewhat related, but I want to talk about motivation and incentive. I was speaking with one of my students from Taiwan, and she was talking about working in Japan. And she said in Japan, unlike Taiwan, most people don't want to go overseas. In Japan, most people want to stay in Japan. Um, and she said she kind of wanted to convince people there that it might be useful to go overseas. And she said they need a motivation to go overseas. And I said that's true. They need a motivation, but also they need an incentive. This is another way we can talk about this. They need an incentive. So let's say I offered all of them, or the government of Japan. Let's not. The government of Taiwan offered Japanese people 100,000 US dollars if they would move to Taiwan. That would be an incentive. That might create motivation in them. Okay? So this is how we're going to talk about this. Incentive is outside. Motivation is inside. Incentive pulls me to something from outside. My motivation pushes me from within to that thing. Okay? So let's say I, as the government in the United States or in your country, want to get people to order their groceries online instead of going to the store. Why? Because coronavirus is in the country and we don't want people going to the store and being around other people. You could appeal to their morals. It's moral to not go outside. You could do that, okay? You could appeal to their patriotism. Real people from our country don't go outside. They order online. But a better way, probably, that might be one way. We need multiple ways. But another way is to incentivize them. To incentivize. This is a verb. To incentivize them. What is the motivational side of that? You already know this probably. To motivate them. Right? We try to motivate them morally. Oh, if you're a good person, you won't go out. Try to motivate them maybe politically or civically. You know, if you go out, you're not a real American or real Japanese citizen. Or we might motivate them by fear. If you go out, you'll die. Okay, but another way to motivate them is to incentivize them. So, you say, if you order food, the government will subsidize the grocery store and you will have no delivery fee. That might be good. You might think, oh, if I order, it's the same price and I don't have to go to the store. That saves me time. That might be an incentive. Or they might say, not only do you not get a delivery fee, but it's $10 off your first 5 orders. Now you have some money you could make. One, you're saving by not having to go to the store, right? But also you're getting money off of your groceries. That is an outside incentive. The incentive is outside. It calls to you. The incentive calls to you and says, I'm out here. I'm wealth you could have, or some type of benefit you could have. It calls to you, like an advertisement calls to you. The incentive pulls you towards the thing. The incentive pulls you towards the thing. What it does also is it stokes your motivation. Stoking motivation is like you have a fire, right? Coming out of the wood here. I'm not drawing this very well. Like this is a wood fire, and here's the stones around it, and here's the fire. Stoking a fire is when you blow on the coals, you kind of make sure air gets under it by poking it, and it makes the fire grow. That's stoking fire. You can stoke someone's motivation by giving them an incentive. Then from inside of them, they become motivated internally to go do that thing. To, oh, I'm going to order groceries online. Once they do that, once you motivate someone, it's hard for that motivation to change. It's almost like an internal engine. Then even after the incentive is gone, sometimes the person will still be motivated. Okay, does that make sense? The motivation pushes you because it's inside your heart or your mind, your feelings, however in your original language you would say that. It pushes you. The incentive pulls you from outside. Motivation inside, incentive outside. Let's go back to the idea of a Taiwanese person versus a Japanese person. At some point in history, Taiwanese people felt that it was good to go outside of their country. At some point. I'm just making a generalization here. It could be totally cultural. Taiwanese people tend to be more outgoing and all of a sudden the word is going out of my mind. Oh, extroverted. And Japanese people as a culture tend to be more introverted and more shy, you know. So at some point in Taiwanese history, they realized they needed things from outside, right? Maybe there wasn't even an incentive. They could make more money working in a foreign country or going overseas. Like in India, there aren't enough university spots in India for all the people that want to go to college. So a lot of them go overseas, right? Well, now it becomes part of the Taiwanese culture. Intrinsically, they think, oh, I would obviously want to go overseas. It becomes intrinsic. Intrinsic. This means just it is. It is. They have that motivation. They don't remember why, but they realize, oh, I want to go overseas. And they say to a Japanese person, why don't you want to go overseas? I want to go overseas. And the Japanese person might say, why? And they stop for a second, they're like, because it makes you happy. And the Japanese person might say, why? How does it make you happy? You know, it might be hard for the person to think of it because it's become intrinsic motivation, somewhat intrinsic to them. Okay? Intrinsic motivation, real intrinsic motivation, is natural motivation by human nature. Okay? But we've created an intrinsic motivation based on culture. Okay? But let's say we incentivize Japanese people to start going overseas and they make more money. What would happen? Family members of those people would tell other people, you know, they made a lot more money. And then when the Japanese people are going to work or their children are going to work and they're maybe not making that much or they're having trouble, they go, you know, they could go overseas. Slowly over time, more Japanese people are going overseas and they start to have this motivation from inside to go overseas, right? It's not just incentive anymore. Same thing in my country. Americans rarely think of living overseas. Why? Because we're taught our country's the greatest in the history of the world, which is crazy. We are the richest in the history of the world, that's true. But we're not the greatest, we're a country. We're a country, right? We have some good things, we have some bad things, just like every country. But Americans tend not to want to go overseas. But if they did, if there was an incentive that pulled them overseas, and more people start doing that, more people would change and start going overseas as well. Okay, so that's incentive, motivation. We also talked about intrinsic. Okay, so now instead of saying the government can motivate people to do this, you could say the government could incentivize people to do this. Okay, you've expanded your vocabulary. Think about inner and outside. Okay, what is advertisement? Is that motivation or is that incentive? That's incentive, right? They are incentivizing you to buy something, right? When you first tried alcohol, it tasted disgusting, right? But you saw your friends doing it, and maybe you saw an advertisement with a famous person that you love, and they were drinking that alcohol. So you had it called out to you, created a motivation, and you went and learned to drink that alcohol, right? Or smoking cigarettes, same thing, right? So anyways, Incentive Motivation. I hope this is helpful to you. If it is, do me a favor and like and subscribe so that other people see my videos. You're getting this for free. I hope you're learning a lot. I want to hear from you, right? But you'll be helping me to be seen as well. Make sure to comment. I want to hear what you think. And you see my name below, RJK English. You can go to Facebook, look up that same name, and you'll find me there. And you can join and comment, and I can give you even more information. Okay? So see you later.